All right, we are live from the Barstool office. I am on the third floor. Frank is in the stool streams. This is Barstool Units. It is, let's see, by when this airs, it'll be Friday, October 21st. Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hockey season's now started. The potential center food.
That good, huh?
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that you can't get anything special order should be the alarm. That should be the alarm.
That you can't get anything
And the
special
problem
order?
with that,
What do you mean by that?
yeah, like if you don't want pickles on your burger
Oh, you mean
or lettuce,
that's
tomato. What?
you mean if you don't want pickles on your burger, it doesn't matter. Like they make all burgers the same way, and if you don't want pickles,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
right.
You know what, Frank? I'm gonna go ahead and say it here. That's the final strike. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out on the Devils. I'm out. I'm out. You're telling me I can't order a cheeseburger without pickles?
Right.
I'm out. I'm out. I wash my hands of the entire organization. That is outrageous. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It is malarkey. It is balderdash. And I will not be a part of that organization as a fan. I won't do it. I'm done.
I mean, and this is supposed to be a quality burger. They call it a blackboard burger with a brioche bun, and it has cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles. And I asked, could I get it? Could I get it without the lettuce, tomato, and pickles? And nope. And all the burgers are sitting under a heat lamp
Hmm.
for God knows how long.
Yep.
So the burger was barely warm, barely warm. The brioche bun was sour. It was hard. It was very hard. The bun was hard. And I know and there's a difference between a hard roll and a brioche bun that's sour. And this bun was sour. It was it was like 5 days old. Uh, it was sloppy. The cheese was put on there sloppy, happily, haphazardly, and it was terrible. It was a terrible burger. And they have this new thing called a split top hot dog. And the cheese, they pour a cheese sauce on. They split the dog and they pour cheese sauce over it. The cheese sauce was all over the place. It wasn't necessarily on the hot dog. It was like halfway on the bun. It was like just and it just sits there under heat lamp. They have tater tots now, and the tater tots I had Saturday night with the chicken tenders were fine, and I think that they sell a lot of chicken tenders, so there's a lot of turnover with the chicken tenders because I think most people who go to Prudential Center know that that's about the only edible thing at the damn place, and
Yeah.
those were good, and the chicken tenders were a little overcooked, which some people may not like. I actually kind of like it like that, but the hot
It's
dog was
definitely better than
sloppy.
it's better than undercooked.
Yeah, better than undercooked. And the tater tots were like half cooked and tasted like they were sitting in the oil for the 20 minutes before cold oil before they actually started cooking them.
Yeah.
Then they also had fries which were underwhelming, undercooked. Uh, the- the-
Frank,
I mean,
we've
come on. How
we've
how do
talked
you
about this.
have such little pride?
Well, and that's the thing. We've talked about this before. I rooted for the Devils last season. It was like it's like when you first start a job, you have like that
Yeah.
90-day probationary period. I wanted to root for the Devils. I wanted to
Now
root for them.
I've heard stories. I don't go to that many games, obviously, because I root for the other team. I hear, and it's the same. It's the same concession management company I hear that it's basically a lot of the same shit goes on at Yankee Stadium.
Really? Same food provider or whatever?
Yeah, Legends Concessions,
Yeah, that may be.
which
But Frank,
which by the way is owned by Jerry Jones.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disparage Jerry Jones on this podcast, but yeah, basically, I was rooting for the Devils. It was, listen, you have an extra season ticket. I wanted to get an NHL. I was like, hey, cool. I'll go to games with Frank. I'll root for the Devils. They've got a great alumnus of fans, New Jersey people, Putty from Seinfeld, Danny DeVito, Kevin Smith. I was like, that's a cool fan base that I can get behind. And listen, I'm a Jaguars fan. I I can get through losing seasons. I'm used to that. I'm conditioned to losing seasons. So the fact that the team didn't win much doesn't bother me at all. But the fact that the organization itself doesn't care about their fans and doesn't care about the actual game day experience. Not only do they not care about their fans, they don't care about their fans that are actually spending money at the arena. I'm out. I'm out. If I have the choice, this isn't something that I grew up with, so I'm kind of like I have to do it. It was a probationary period, and they failed. They failed. I'm out.
So I guess you're
I am.
not
I am out.
don't want to go to Mascot Madness on Saturday. Already confirmed is the mascot of the Wild and the Ducks.
Yeah, Frank. I'm not 12. And so the idea of spending my Saturday, instead of watching college football, going to an NHL game where I know the people putting on the show do not give a shit about the people that are there, but they're going to, prance out some mascots. Listen, here's the deal. If Blooper's going to be there, I'll be there. If Blooper's not going, I'm not going. No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I don't know if I've made it official or not, but we'll just call it now. It's official. I'm done with the whole organization.
The last time the Devils did a Mascot Madness was just when after Gritty got announced, and they had like several different mascots.
Yeah.
And NJ Devil walked around with an orange mop with googly eyes on it and called it Gritty.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I'm done. I'm done. I'll still go to some games with you here and there, but I cannot actively participate in that, in what is a sad organization, and the fans shouldn't put up with it. I get it. Maybe if you were born into it or you were raised that, you've been cheering for the team for a long time, but the fans shouldn't put up with that. They shouldn't have to.
I think the only reason why I'm going to still do concourse food, at least for the time being, is for content only. But I'm seriously looking at the places and around Prudential Center and saying, boy, that might actually be a good food item before the game, rather than going into the game.
Yeah.
Especially when Hobbies is fully open again.
On Hobby?
Hobbies.
I don't know what that is.
It's about 3 blocks from the Prudential Center. Classic Jewish deli. Great pastrami sandwich.
I like a good pastrami sandwich. Yeah, all right. So that's basically the NHL. Good luck with the Devils, Frank. I can't do it. We'll see. We'll see if I start on another team.
We're just waiting for Lindy Ruff to get fired.
No, Frank, that's all. No. Because even here's the deal. The same organization that is putting out the garbage food and that treats its own fans, it's paying customers like shit, is the same team that is holding on to Lindy Ruff. That's getting rid of Lindy Ruff won't change the game day experience. This is how they treat you fans while the team is bad. You think if the team is good, like the game day experience is going to get any better? And I don't want to pile on you here, Frank. I understand. Listen, you're a Devils fan. You're going to stay a Devils fan no matter what. But I have options. I have choices, and I choose to be better. That's a fair response, Frank. That's a fair response.
Well, we'll see if we can get to some minor league hockey games at some point this year.
Love minor league hockey. It's listen. The Devils have a bad owner. Probably not the worst owner in sports. The worst owner in sports may go to Dan Snyder, the Washington football team, Washington Commanders.
He's an asshole.
I think
There's no other way to describe it. Dan Snyder is an asshole.
In legal terms, I think that is correct.
In fact, in the new edition of the dictionary, if you look up the word asshole, you will see Dan Snyder's picture there.
Yeah. I talked with a lawyer, Dan Lust. He's a sports lawyer. I talked with him yesterday. I'm actually putting that out. The video should come out today. But we went over it. I mean, the amount of stuff that has come out and the investigations that have been done in the past 2 years, so it's very revealing. Yeah, he has implications and accusations against him from everything from sexual harassment to cooking the books. Apparently, saying that a lot of the more ticket revenue came from country concerts and college football games than the actual NFL games. And that's where you go. That's where you mess up. If you're a rich person, you can steal from poor people all you want, and most likely nothing's going to happen to you. When you begin to steal from other rich people because they profit share, when you begin to steal from other rich people, that's when you're getting in trouble. Yeah. There's that, along with all the Gruden stuff coming, the Gruden emails and everything.
I mean, it's what this shows is that Roger Goodell is an ineffective commissioner.
And I talked with Dan Lust about this. Roger Goodell pretty much is paid to be the front man. He is paid to stand there as like a shield and basically block the owners and to do what the owners say. So obviously Roger Goodell lied under oath when he was asked about Dave Portnoy, and he said, "Oh, I'm not familiar with this situation." That's obviously a lie. So Roger Goodell, is a piece of garbage, and he's lied under oath. He should probably face some perjury charges for that. But when Roger Goodell says, "Oh, we don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about that or whatnot," or as far as like an owner's voting Dan Snyder out, it's probably because he knows that there aren't enough owners to actually vote him out. And Dan Snyder,
Dan Snyder's done a good job. He's like, he says, "I got dirt on every one of you."
Yeah, we talk about that, and so he has released a letter to other owners saying, "I don't have dirt on anyone. I didn't instruct anyone to spy on anyone. They're just trying to, they're trying to put dirt on my name," which is a tough defense when you've put dirt on your name. But yeah, here's the thing: he needs 24. They need 24 of the 32 owners to agree to kick him out. So he only needs dirt on a few owners, because he doesn't. And I talked about this with Dan. He doesn't just need dirt on 8 owners. He needs dirt on enough owners that are friends with other owners to where they all agree, "Hey, we want to save this one person or save this second guy." So it's tough, and no owner has been removed as an owner in all 4 of the sports leagues ever before. They've been pushed to sell. They've been pressured to sell. But no one's actually, the process of actually removing an owner has never happened before.
I know the Phillies had that in both. There's been 2 cases in Philadelphia where it would have happened if it wasn't the owner didn't step aside. And one case, it was a Phillies owner that was betting on the Phillies, and back in the 40s, and he actually got kicked. He got suspended. But basically, when he got suspended and barred from running the team, his investors sold the team.
Yeah.
And the other case was Leonard Hose of the Eagles, who was going personally bankrupt from his gambling and alcohol habits. He basically, the owners were going to force him out. He sold before that even happened.
Yeah, and most likely that's going to be the situation here. Again, the odds that Dan Snyder could sell the team and probably make $5 billion. The Denver Broncos went for 4.5, right? You're talking about Washington, D.C. You're talking about Virginia, Maryland, the District of Columbia. It's a big market. There's no reason that team couldn't sell for $5 billion. But we talked about this yesterday. When you're a billionaire, billions of dollars doesn't mean anything. It's all about.
And he puts nothing into the team, really. Now, he goes out and he signs players. He puts money to try to sign players. That stadium is crumbling, and it's a 25-year-old stadium. It shouldn't be crumbling the way it's crumbling.
Well, not only does he have a bad stadium, but he's in a situation where Virginia, Maryland, and D.C., they all want a beautiful new stadium to have events at, but none of them will work with Dan Snyder. And we talked about this so if Dan Snyder can't get a new stadium, even if everything else didn't happen, if the NFL has an owner where their stadium is garbage, they're not performing at the revenue they should be for their market, and they can't get a new stadium, that could be a reason to remove him as an owner. Now, obviously, that probably would never happen. But if you're talking about, hey, listen, we all profit share, and your market is not making what it should, and no one wants to work with you, I don't see the team getting a new stadium unless Dan Snyder is not the owner.
What's funny is Jim Irsay is the first owner to actually come out publicly and say he needs to go.
Yeah,
and he's the guy that they can't dig up dirt on because everyone just knows.
And that's the whole thing. And he said you can investigate me or you can spy on me till the cows come home. All my stuff is out there. And I haven't followed it too closely, but apparently Irsay in the past decade has worked pretty hard on, I guess not trying to correct the mistakes he made, but, growing and, doing charity work and everything like that. And, trying to make a difference.
I think he had a substance problem. Yeah. I don't know, alcohol, drugs, but he's had substance abuse issues. He's better. His father was an asshole. Jim Irsay's father was an asshole.
Mm.
He's the guy that moved the team to Indianapolis, and Jim Irsay's been a little bit more accommodating, a little nicer guy, but he's a little weird. He's got a little bit of that father in him, but he's been good. He's been good for the city of Indianapolis. He's done a lot of good, and he's had his issues, but I mean, he's eccentric, but he knows when there's a guy that's bad because he worked for a guy that was bad.
Yeah,
you can see the signs.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. So it's not just that he came out and because usually with the owners and, with any kind of legal issue or anything, everybody says, wait for the report. Oh, we're going to wait for the report. So not only did he come out and say, we don't need to wait for we have enough evidence now to make a decision without a report officially coming out, but he actively went against another owner. And I think it's telling that Roger Goodell didn't come out and automatically say he shouldn't have said that. I think that means that Roger Goodell feels that it's not just Irsay, but he has enough other owners to where they may, call a vote.
I don't think they could move. I don't think they're going to get to 24 to remove him, but I think they'll get a simple majority.
Yeah, well, they need 24. They need 24.
And I think if they get a simple majority, it might be enough to push Snyder to sell.
So I don't know. I think that might make him dig his heels in.
Yeah, he could. That's possible.
Now he knows. Hey, I know who's on my side and who's not. Now he knows who to go after. So I don't know. I think if they call a vote, just like with any political issue, you don't call a vote unless you know how the vote's going to go.
Yeah. Did you see Jerry Jones and him got into a squabble, and then there's talk about Jerry Jones' sexual harassment? I think we already seen some of the dirt that he's dug up coming out.
Yeah. Well, and Jerry Jones, and we talked about, again, I'm referencing all this stuff that I talked to Dan Lust about. We had a whole conversation about it. Jerry Jones is the exact opposite owner of Dan Snyder. As far as the league, as far as the NFL is concerned, he may be a dirtbag. He may be a piece of garbage when it comes to the social issues or the personable issues. But as far as an owner, Jerry makes money. He brings in money for the league. And when you bring in money, when you're an earner, you get away with certain things.
You know, what was funny is about 30 years ago now, 1995, he started making side deals. And the owners were pissed. And Jerry Jones says, "Fuck you! I'm making side deals. I'm going to make more money. You're more than welcome." And he made side deals with Pepsi. He made side deals with Reebok. He made side deals with all these companies. All of a sudden, the owners basically were like, "How dare he do that? We're supposed to be profit sharing." He goes, "Here, I'll give you the number. Talk to him." And all of a sudden, they talk to these guys. All of a sudden, they said, "Oh, geez, we could make this money too." And then all of a sudden, he brought in more big companies into the NFL with these side deals. And then also the other one says, "Oh, wow, he's a trailblazer." The people who are cursing him.
Yeah, and I don't know what the terms are exactly, but it's my understanding that when it comes to profit sharing, at least for merchandise, the Cowboys do not profit share with the other teams.
Yep.
If you see a shirt or a jersey or anything that is Dallas or has the Dallas Star logo, that is Dallas is the team that's getting money for that.
Yeah, there were like all these companies. Teams used to have different jersey manufacturers. Used to work out their jersey manufacturers with different teams, and the Cowboys in the early '90s, when they were winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, their merchandise was everywhere. They became a worldwide brand.
Yeah.
Around the globe, the two most recognizable New York sports teams are the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Yankees.
The two most noticeable New York teams?
American teams.
Gotcha. Okay.
The two most notable American teams are the Dallas Cowboys and New York Yankees.
Yeah. And it was that when they started calling them America's team?
No, that started in the 70s.
In the 70s. And what was the start of that? What was the reason for, how did that begin?
All right. In the 70s, the Cowboys were on national television a lot.
Gotcha.
And
so kind of how Notre Dame is the college team for New York.
Yeah. So teams at the time, the Jets and Giants really stunk. So a lot of New York fans, instead of becoming Jet and Giant fans, became Cowboy fans. There's a lot of Cowboy fans around here. And what it was there are 3 teams in the mid-late 70s that really took off. And the Dolphins were kind of like the 4th team in that, but they were a little ahead of the wave. So what it was that the Raiders were like the Outlaws. The Outlaw, if you were like an outlaw, you became a Raider fan. The Steelers became like the blue collar team. And then the Cowboys became like the glitz, the glamour, everything's this. They had the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and they had a quarterback from Navy, Roger Staubach.
Yeah, Heisman.
So that became like oh, okay, this is the All-American team. This is what America is all about. Is the Cowboys, the American dream, the hole in the roof. They used to have the old stadium had the hole in the roof. They said was, and the reason why they designed it with a hole in the roof was so God could watch the Cowboys.
That's good. I like that branding. Well, so they were America's
And then
team.
they had this coach, like Tom Landry with his fedora. And Tom Landry is one of the most classy guys, soft-spoken, always wore the suit. And it was like the image that you wanted to. This is the image that they put it. It was like an image. The Cowboys are. This is America.
Yeah.
That's how they became America's team.
And they played on primetime a lot.
Yeah, they were on primetime a lot, or they were on playing like a big football game against for first place, or in the playoffs every year.
Yeah. So I tell you what, another team that plays primetime a lot. Maybe this will be America's next team. The Denver Broncos. I mean, I think they might need to just make this open up the seasons. When does when does it open up where they'll move teams or they'll move games around?
I think that starts in the next couple of weeks.
Right. I think they may need to just they may need to start that earlier in the season.
I mean,
they may need to start the shift earlier in the season.
I mean, to get four of the first 6 weeks, the Broncos were in prime time, and they are not an entertaining football team.
Not only
Russell Wilson, I don't know if he's hurt or he's washed, but Russell Wilson's reputation has taken a beating, especially with Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman both coming out and saying, "Oh, we would like to talk to him and give him some words of encouragement," but he doesn't talk to any of his teammates. You have to go to his management team.
Yeah, that's if you were a Russell Wilson fan, like hearing that,
that doesn't make him look like a good guy.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. I mean, listen, we can laugh and about the cringy Subway ads and the Mr. Unlimited, like that's all funny and everything, and then like whatever, he might just be a corny guy, that's whatever. It's funny, but on the football field, as a leader, as the quarterback of the team, you're telling me players on the team can't get a hold of him without going through his manager? If you're on his team and that's the case, I don't know why you would play for him.
You could tell looking at the Bronco players that they don't like him.
Yeah,
you saw the two Broncos like looking at him and like talking behind his back. You saw the one guy that was staring at him, and he's just like, "Broncos country, let's ride,
let's ride." Yeah, I saw a meme like, "Say let's ride one more motherfucking time. Say let's ride one more time."
I mean. And their coach is really bad.
Yeah,
he's really bad. I like the Monday night game. In overtime, the first punt, the Broncos had 10 men on the field. On the second punt, they had the blocker backed up and ran into the returner, and the punt was fumbled, and that's what set up the game-winning field goal for a kicker who kicked 4 field goals on a sore hamstring.
Yeah,
that was Monday night's game. The Chargers got 4 field goals with a kicker with a sore hamstring. The Broncos scored 10 points in the second quarter, 3 points the rest of the game, and that was the Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, that's Dustin Hopkins, FSU kicker, and yeah, so it's not just the Broncos are bad. It seems that all the games they're in are bad. So it's not even, it would be one thing if they were just getting killed and it was funny to watch because here's this team having to play primetime games and everyone is just destroying them. No, the games themselves are difficult to watch. They're terrible. And I still cannot understand why Denver went after Russell Wilson. They gave up so much money for him. They signed him to a 5-year extension before he even took a snap. I just don't understand it.
And the draft picks they gave up. I mean, this is
drafted multiple QBs each year and just done a competition.
Meanwhile, Seattle's is playing well with Geno Smith, who's looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson.
He's looked much better than people.
I've never seen a quarterback that fell off the cliff, and his reputation is getting destroyed in Denver.
Yeah,
destroyed. His legacy.
Yeah, he might as well have just retired. Well, they've got him for another 7 years?
Yeah. Denver.
I mean, we won't even we in future episodes of I'm going to be speaking with Dan Lust, the sports lawyer. We're gonna do a series on that as far as legal issues with sports. I don't know I do know what's worse. So Denver, that was, I don't know what they were doing, but that is horrible. Maybe we'll talk about this on another episode, but Cleveland gave up picks and they gave Deshaun Watson guaranteed money. And that's a whole nother ordeal. Deshaun Watson is supposed to be playing his first game, week 11 against the Texans?
Week 12, I believe.
Week 12? Yeah, because he has 11-game suspension. So week 12 against the Texans. So that'll be his first game played, but he's getting paid for all these games. He's making all that money. I don't know. I guess I just don't understand sports business.
Yeah, the Browns were right to pull the plug on Baker Mayfield. It's just they basically punted this season. Their defense isn't very good, so they punted the season. And their only hope is that somehow maybe they're on the fringe of the playoff spot, and Watson can play well enough to get them in, sneak them in somehow. I doubt that's going to happen, but they better hope that Deshaun Watson is all his legal matters is done. That if he goes to a massage parlor, that they actually are full service, or he doesn't go to the massage parlor, that he doesn't do this again, because it's. I mean, if this continues to happen, if this happens again, he's done.
Yeah.
And the Browns basically get nothing and don't have the draft picks or capital to even recover it because they traded it all for him.
Yeah. And Dan mentioned this to me on the podcast. He said, even if other things come out, because the NFL has had their investigation and they've punished Watson, the 11-game suspension, even if other new accusations come out, if they are involving the same thing, the same type of action, and they're in that time period as everything else went down, then the NFL is not even going to look at it. The NFL has already basically said, hey, whatever happened during this time period with these type of actions, we know about it and we're okay with that. You've received your punishment, and so it's kind of like a double jeopardy issue. They can't come back and say, oh, well, no, now this is new information we didn't have. It's like, no, you had investigation, you did everything, and this is his punishment. So even if new things come out, if they're similar and in that same time period, the NFL can't do anything about it. So Deshaun Watson might be guaranteed all the money. He might walk away with all of it, even without playing.
Very risky, very risky. I mean, if Watson comes back and this is able to put this stuff behind him, the Browns got themselves a franchise quarterback. If not, they got themselves a headache.
Yeah. Not just a headache, but like imagine every game there's going to be the visiting fan base or the fan base of the game where they're at. The visiting team or the opposing team, their fans are not going to let that slide.
Oh no. Especially when it goes into Pittsburgh.
Every game.
Especially when they go like to a place like Pittsburgh or something like that.
Well, Pittsburgh might not be the best. Pittsburgh might not be the best comparison there. Maybe a team who hasn't had a quarterback.
No, but
maybe Pittsburgh might not be the best comparison.
But Steeler fans always just are brutal to Browns fans.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Of course, then you got the Battle of
Well,
Ohio. You know, it reminds me of the time Sam Weish, a coach for the Bengals. Fans were upset at a call by the referee or throwing things on the field.
yeah.
So the Bengals coach grabbed the microphone and said, "The next person you see, actually it was snowballs. It might have been snowballs. This was late in the season. The next person you see throwing snowballs on the field, point them out and throw them out. We don't do that here. We live in Cincinnati. We live in Cincinnati, not Cleveland."
Yeah. And what year did that happen?
Like 1990,
Oh,
89, 90.
that's a good foreshadowing. That's good foreshadowing for the Cleveland Jacksonville game that would happen, what, 9 years later?
Yep.
Yeah. That yeah, just a lot of stuff I don't understand. I don't understand. Speaking of bad business, well, potential bad business, there was some stuff in the card hobby this week. I spoke with because listen, we have breaks where you can buy into spots, and listen, buying sports cards, just like buying Pokemon cards or any other kind of trading card, you don't know what's in the pack and you are putting money into it. People can easily make the assumption that it is gambling. People can make that claim, and I don't think anyone would be I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. I don't know anyone who would say it's not in some form gambling. But we have an issue where there's some breakers down in South Florida who are hitting all of the major breaks. And basically, they hit like a $2.4 million card. They're hitting the 4 jackpots, basically. And, everyone kind of says, hey, this doesn't seem right. It seems like they're hitting an awful lot of hits. They're getting a lot of the great cards that are coming out of the product. And so it's fair to assume like, hey, they're opening up a lot more product than other people. So if they open a lot more product, it's fair to assume that they'll get more hits. But somebody actually, did the math on it. And I'm not a statistician, so I can't guarantee the math. But basically, he said they would have to open up $40 million worth of these 3 products to even have a 0.05 chance or a 0.5 chance. So a 1 in 200 odds. And so we posted that. It went out last weekend, and people are talking about it. But I mean, did you ever deal with this when you were collecting? Was there any ever inkling that when you bought a box of cards, the good cards had already been purchased or had been, like the McDonald's Monopoly game, other people, the big people in the hobby were getting the good cards. Did you ever feel that way when you were buying cards growing up?
Well, the inserts were really only in its infancy when I was doing cards. So there really wasn't a hunt for the inserts as there is now.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't even existing. When I was doing it, it was the junk box era, and I collected cards just to get the complete sets and build the sets. So it wasn't this in terms of looking for the great cards like that. That didn't exist.
So you didn't, because that started what, like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
That's when they started adding patches and everything. So
by
that time, you weren't really collecting baseball or football cards anymore?
No,
or
not really. I was buying packs here and there. I wasn't really
collecting,
buying boxes.
Yeah. How's the so we'll figure that out. There's been a lot. It's amazing how once you call out something as suspicious, there were no accusations made. It was basically, listen, there's a possibility that they found all these cards, they got all the hits in a completely random manner, and that's completely possible. When you look at the numbers, though, it does look suspicious, and you got to try and figure out, okay, well, what are the possibilities? Is somebody at Pannini feeding them loaded boxes? Is there somebody in the warehouse? How does the distribution work? Is there someone up top that knows which boxes have what, and they're passing them? door,
That
you know.
those are questions that have to be answered.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. It's amazing how just asking the question, how many people on Twitter are so naive to say, you guys are just jealous. You guys are, it's like, what, what do I get out of this by just being, suspicious of a statistical anomaly? It's crazy. And, I definitely think about it. It's something that I'm having to figure out because it is a big card company, Panini. And it's one of those things, hey, I have a large following. If I talk bad about them, am I going to ruin a relationship? Am I going to burn a bridge before a bridge is even created? That's something for a while I went back and forth on. Like, I want to talk about it. I want to say something, but I don't want to burn any bridges. And then I thought about, I don't have the following because I was making bridges. I don't have a following, and I'm not talking about this, so that I hopefully get some kind of kickback from not talking about it. And so that's why, I sat down with the guy that made the thread, Eric Whiteback, and we put it out. And, if I don't, or if I burn a bridge, so what? I'm not here at Barstool
it's a valuable question. Something smells fishy, and the way people react, it makes it even smell even fishier.
That was the biggest thing. Is there's other breakers, there's other big breakers who are being very defensive, and it's like, okay, well, if you're being very defensive about this, it makes me think either either you have something going on as well, and you just want this all to go away, and so you're just going to defend him or defend the breakers. Either that, or I have to question what your motive is. Again, we're not, there's no one pointing fingers and saying this person is doing wrong because we don't have any of the information. But just to have like a blatant, no, nothing could be wrong. You shouldn't look into this. It's like, all right, well, now I really want to look into it because you're being very defensive.
Yeah. Nothing to see here.
Go away.
That's out of acting.
Yeah, we'll see. But speaking of breaks, we had a break last night. On Whatnot, that went pretty well. Got a Bailey Zappi autograph, on card autograph. So that was a pretty cool card. And I think that just goes to show how random everything is. If Mac Jones did not get a high ankle sprain, that Bailey Zappi card that I pulled last night would have just been whatever. But because Mac Jones gets a high ankle sprain, he's playing in New England, he's doing pretty good. And all of a sudden, hey, this is a pretty cool card to open.
But, Patriot fans would have went for that Bailey Zappi card, though. I had before even Mac Jones got hurt, someone was telling me that a lot of people in New England are high on Zappi.
Yeah. Well, it was a 6th-round draft pick for New England, right?
So help me God if they did it again.
Listen, New England, Tom Brady and New England killed my Jaguars multiple times in the playoffs. So I'm not a fan of them, but I can't imagine what you would feel like as a Dolphins fan if they found the next Tom Brady randomly like this.
I'm telling you, but Bill Belichick is Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. Hey, listen, he knows how to work the dark side, I guess. Well, so on Whatnot, so we're breaking on Whatnot, but then also you have an auction coming up today, right? So by the time this airs, it'll happen. But
yeah,
they're auctioning off what?
I had a Mets hat that I got in 2017. Mets sent me a package after the train thing, and it was like an opening day 2017 hat, and I've been wearing it around. I wore it for part of the season this year. Then the back kind of like unraveled.
Mm-hmm.
So I wore it when they played in the wild card round, and when they lost the game, I tore it and I threw it aside.
Yeah.
So they picked it up, and it's going to be auctioned off to see if how it does, and if it does well, I might do more auctions. I might sell my pants that I ripped on the LIRR.
They'll just have somebody is going to just start a collection of ripped Frank tire.
Maybe I'll sell some of the glasses I broke.
Yeah, some of the maybe some of the chewed up T-shirts with the missing collars. Well, we'll see how that goes, but that should be interesting to watch. Let's go ahead and let's get into our picks here. Frank, and I say this with all sincerity, we might be the best gambling duo at this company.
I mean, you can say that, but if you do say that, we're in danger of having a week where we go 2-8.
I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. I said maybe. Obviously, there's some people on like Pick Central who have pretty good weeks and pretty good months. But so far this season, we're looking pretty good. I'm at 36, 26, and 3. You are 38, 25, and 2. So we're neck and neck right there. Just a couple of picks separate us. And again, I feel comfortable saying it. We might be the best gambling duo at the company.
You never know.
Well, we will know. We will know. The seasons are in stride right now. Let's go and start it off here. I'll let you go first again. Let's start with the college football.
All right. I hate this number. I mean, I didn't like the fact that Notre Dame was 17-point favorites over Stanford last week. Didn't think they'd actually lose the game. This week, I'm taking Notre Dame.
Really?
It's minus 27, but UNLV is horrific. The UNLV might be one of the 25 worst teams in the nation. And if Notre Dame can't beat them by 4 touchdowns, then Notre Dame is going to go like 6-6, and they're going to need a new coach. I mean, UNLV got demolished by Air Force.
Hey, that's Air Force,
UNLV. I think they get blown out every week. So I'm going to take Notre Dame. I'm reluctant to take the 27 points, but I'm taking Notre Dame minus 27.
All right. Now do you think? I mean, I could see them getting up by 26, and then they're nice Catholics, and they don't want to bury the team, So I could see them getting up by 26, then just
that scares me. But
yes,
I just think UNLV is so bad that Notre Dame's going to win by 30, and they're not even going to do it. They're going to reluctantly win by 30.
And is this at Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say if it was at UNLV, they've got that slot machine on the sideline. That would make a difference.
All right, the next one I'm going with is TCU. I mean, can we actually be seeing TCU in the Final Four? I mean, good comeback win over Oklahoma State last week. They're 3.5-point favorites this week against Kansas State. I guess I have to believe in them now. I'm going to take TCU minus 3.5.
All right.
Next one is interesting Pac-12 matchup. UCLA has played really well to start the season, but now they play Oregon. I'm going to take Oregon minus 6. Because Oregon, let's face it, Oregon's always going to be a factor in the Pac-12 championship. UCLA kind of it's going to be kind of like a Chip Kelly day. I like the Ducks.
All right.
Ole Miss, they're riding high. It's time to take them down a notch. LSU minus 2.
Nice.
And I'm going to go with the under in the Ohio State-Iowa game. The over-under is 49.5. Ohio State's going to have to get those 50 points by themselves.
Yeah.
Iowa's actually got a good defense.
Yeah.
They actually got a good defense.
And so you don't think Iowa's going to score, and Iowa's defense is going to stop Ohio State from scoring over 50.
Yes.
Fair
I
enough.
can see the final score of this game being 37-3.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, hey, listen, those are 5 picks, and we're going. I love this because we're going against each other in a couple of them. So it means that there will be some separation, or there's a chance to have separation. So here are my 5 picks. I'm going Iowa, Ohio State over 49.5. I did think about this. What if I just flipped all your picks and was like, you know what? Somebody's going to do really well. Somebody's going to do really bad. No, we're going to do Iowa, Ohio State over 49.5. I think Iowa could easily score 14 points, and then I'm not asking too much of Ohio State. It could happen. It could happen.
Iowa's already had like 3 games this year where they haven't scored a touchdown.
I know. Listen, I believe in points. I could easily see a 36-14 game. I'm all about it. So I'm going Iowa, Ohio State over 49.5. I'm doing a lot of states. Florida State's not playing, so I picked all state teams this week. I'm going Penn State -4, Oklahoma State +6.5, Mississippi State +21, and I'm going against you there again, Kansas State +3.5. I like all those picks. I'm excited about it. I'm ecstatic that you and I are going opposite sides on 2 of the games, the TCU and the Ohio State. I think this is my time to really, really get some separation on the season.
Mm.
You don't like my picks, do you?
No.
Good. That's great. That's great news, Frank. That's fantastic news. Because even though you're winning right now, that's not going to last, Frank.
I considered taking Bama this week too.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I think they'll probably easily win, but I mean, Tennessee showed that they have some issues that they need to work on.
Yeah. How about that? The field goal, that's throwing the goalpost in the river.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if I don't think they've probably done that in 10, 15 years minimum. But I don't know if I was a student or if I was a fan in Knoxville and I'm like walking down the street with a goalpost, I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to be the last person to hold on to this, and this is going in my living room. You know what I mean? Like this is like. I feel like that should be, and I don't know if maybe that's a tradition somewhere else.
Did
that
you
would
see
be a great.
it reminds me of the commercial last year, the Fansville commercial with
What?
Brian Bosworth. The fans came and took the goalpost and stadium. Do you see it? No. And he goes, "Oh, nice swing set." And the kids, the goalpost in his front yard, and there's like swinging on it.
Yeah. And so I don't know if it's a tradition anywhere else, but. And maybe they don't want it to make it a tradition because it would incentivize tearing down the goalpost, which is a fine for the school. And then the school also has to spend a lot of money buying new goalposts. I'm pretty sure at FSU, you'll never see that at FSU. They have, with 5 minutes left in the game, the state troopers come out like every 5 yards along the sidelines. And the field goal, I'm fairly certain this is at FSU. The field goal post actually come like they lower them to the ground. They could lower them to the ground if they needed to. But I think it would be a great tradition if like, listen, if the goalpost comes down, you just keep walking it up and down the street. There's Gay Street in Tennessee or, whatever street is right there on the river with Copeland's, but you just keep walking it up and down the street, and whoever's the last person holding it, they get to keep it. Can you imagine, like, on Monday and Tuesday after the game, there's still these people just on the sidewalk holding these goalposts? They won't let it go. I would love that. I would love, and then the person last holding it, they get a goalpost. I feel like that would be great. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch, and as a honorary Tennessee fan, I thoroughly enjoyed that game and all the celebrations from the fans. All right, you ready for NFL?
Yep.
All right. I'll let you
All
go
right.
first.
There's hope that Tua can return this week. Most importantly is the Dolphins getting Armstead back on the offensive line. I mean, if I have to watch Greg Little and Liam Eichenberg play on the left side again, I think I'm going to like seriously like bang my head against the wall. I mean, Sister Jean, the nun, could get up out of her wheelchair and sack the damn quarterback with Liam Eichenberg and Greg Little blocking him. They can't block shit. The revolving door downstairs gives more resistance to the pass rushers than the two of those fucking bums.
Wow. Some strong words from Frank. Strong words.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins -7.
All right.
I think that despite how the Steelers played last week, they got a little bit of quarterback issues. Pickett may not play this week. I think that the Dolphins come out strong. They make a statement on Sunday night, and I'm gonna take the Dolphins -7.
All right.
The Colts have won the last 2 games and have done nothing to deserve to win those games, except hang around and make a play at the end of the game.
I agree.
This week they're going to get throttled. I think the Titans, who've already beaten them once, going to beat them again. Titans -2.5. The Jets are due for a stinker. They've won 3 in a row. They're due for a stinker. They've gotten good defense. I know they're playing the Broncos. I thought about taking the under in this game. Instead, I'm going to take the Broncos. It's a virtual pick 'em. I'm going to take the Broncos -1.
All right.
I'm going to take in a rematch of the Super Bowl 45. I think the Chiefs are going to go. Niners are a little banged up right now. Chiefs -2.5 over the 49ers. And I like the over in the Ravens and Browns game. It's over 45.5. I think Lamar Jackson has a big day. Ravens defense hasn't played well. Browns defense is terrible. That looks like a game where the points are going to be plenty of points in that game.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like those picks, Frank. I agree with you. I think Tennessee is going to destroy Indianapolis. It was very upsetting how Jacksonville, they came out looking great against them. And I think Matt Ryan threw like 50 passes, maybe even more than 50 passes. And that was tough to see them lose to Indianapolis. But I think the Titans definitely destroy them. Again, we're going against each other on at least one of these games. So I like these picks. So we'll start out Jacksonville. This is going to be tough. I like Clem. I like all the Giants fans in the office. The Giants are going into Jacksonville. Danny Dimes looks good. No fifth-year option. They chose not to give it to him, but he's looking like a decent quarterback this season. I'm taking Jacks -3. I think the Jaguars, Shaquille Griffin will not be playing this week. I think he's out for the week. I think whoever is behind him steps up and we don't get killed on those long passes from Danny Dimes. So I'm taking Jacksonville -3. I'm taking Las Vegas -7. And here we go with the Denver, New York Jets. I'm taking the Jets. Denver's garbage. The New York Jets are looking good. And the Jets +1, I might be going on a limb here. I'm going to take the points, but I think they could win outright.
I think it's kind of a trap game. I think Vegas put the Jets and Giants are. It's like all the Jet and Giant fans are going to be betting heavily on the Jets and Giants, and that's when they get them. Both the Jets and Giants, I think, are due for bad weeks.
Yeah, it's possible. They're looking good though. I'm going to kind of double dip here. I told you last week, none of the overs last week excited me. I took the under hit, but I'm going to kind of double dip here. I'm going Jacksonville, New York Giants over 42. I think easily I could see each team scoring 21 points. Jacksonville alone, they've got James Robinson. He's going to run in a couple. They've got Etienne. I think if they figure out how to play the game like it should be played, they can easily score over 42. And then this one, I'm not super confident in this one, but I'm going to go Green Bay -4.5.
I consider taking a lot of your picks.
I'm torn on that because it's you, but at the same time, you're 38-25, and I'm 36-26. So I'm, saying you would take a lot of my picks. It's I don't know. Is this?
I stayed away. I stayed away from the Giants Jaguars because I know that's your pick, and I like the Jaguars.
Yeah, I do too, Frank. So, well, those are our picks. Again, you're leading right now. It's very close. You're leading for the unit belt 38-25-2. I'm 36-26-3. Still, even though I'm losing, very good record. But yeah, cool. Well, that's Barstool Units. We will see you next time. Frank, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't.
All right, so that's Barstool Units. Thanks for watching. Make sure to click like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Follow us on social media. Frank, please take us out.
The Brooklyn Nets still suck.